In this video, we are going to work on graphing g of x equals 2x plus 10 divided by x squared minus 25. And we're going to work on graphing this by hand without the use of our graphing calculator. So I always recommend that we begin with the domain of the function. And since this is a rational function, and by rational, remember, that means we have a polynomial divided by a polynomial. So that's a rational function. We know that we cannot have 0 in the denominator. So that means our denominator, x squared minus 25, that cannot equal 0. So you can either factor x squared minus 25, or you could add 25 and square root both sides. Either way, I choose to factor though, because sometimes when people take the square root, they forget the plus or minus. And if you factor this into x plus 5 times x minus 5, then you can see that x plus 5 cannot equal 0, x minus 5 cannot equal 0, therefore x cannot equal negative 5, and x cannot equal positive 5. So our domain actually has two restrictions. The domain is all real numbers except for negative 5 and positive 5. So that would be from negative infinity to negative 5, union negative 5 to 5, union 5 to infinity. So we have two domain restrictions. Now, some people choose to go ahead and factor from the very beginning, and that would be fine as well. So if I go up here to the original function g of x and I factor, I notice that the numerator has a common factor of a 2. So I'll factor out a 2 from the numerator, 2 times the quantity x plus 5. And the denominator, x squared minus 25, that was a perfect square, difference of perfect squares. So we factor that. And you'll notice that in this particular example, we have a common factor in the numerator and the denominator that we can divide out and simplify. So this function actually simplifies to be 2 divided by x minus 5. Now, even though the x plus 5s simplify, even though that they divide out, x plus 5 divided by x plus 5 is equal to 1, even though they divide out, negative 5 is still a domain restriction, because if we were to substitute negative 5 into the original function, we would get a value that's undefined. So it's still part of the domain. And it turns out that when you have that common factor in the numerator and the denominator, when the function can be simplified, that means that we end up with a hole in this graph. So after we find the domain, we generally will want to simplify the function if possible. In this case, we did simplify the function to be 2 divided by x minus 5. So we'll move on to find the vertical asymptotes. And once we use this simplified function to find the vertical asymptotes, that requires us to set the denominator equal to 0, and we have a vertical asymptote of x equals 5. Now, I recommend that you graph as you go, meaning I like to go ahead and graph every little characteristic that I get along the way. I don't like to graph at the very, very end. So I'm going to go ahead and take a red pen and graph in this vertical asymptote. I recommend that you use a different color or maybe even a highlighter. And this vertical line, x equals 5, is my vertical asymptote. Now, because this function simplified, that meant that there was a hole in the graph. We're going to have an additional discontinuity. And that discontinuity is going to occur wherever that common factor was. The common factor was x plus 5. So if we take that common factor and set that equal to 0, we see that common factor, x plus 5, will equal 0 when x equals negative 5. So that's the other domain restriction. The other domain restriction was negative 5 here. So you'll notice positive 5, that domain restriction was the vertical asymptote, but negative 5, it turns out, that's going to be the location of the hole. So we have a hole when x equals negative 5. Now, it would be useful to have a coordinate for that hole. So we're going to go ahead, since we've identified the x value of the whole as -5, we're going to substitute -5 into my simplified function. So that's going to give us 2 divided by -5 minus 5, and this will give us the y value, the y coordinate of where the whole is located. So that's going to simplify to be -1/5. So this graph contains a whole at -5, comma, -1/5. So I'm going to go ahead and graph an open dot to represent that whole at -5, -1/5. So somewhere about there is where we're going to have a hole in the graph. And that takes care of both of the places where we have a discontinuity. We have a discontinuity at -5, that's where the hole is, and then we have another discontinuity at the vertical asymptote at x equals 5. So next we're going to move on to the horizontal asymptote. And the horizontal asymptote is found by analyzing the degree of the numerator and the degree of the denominator. Now, for the horizontal asymptote, we're going to go ahead and use this simplified function, 2 divided by x minus 5. Because the simplified function, 2 over x minus 5, it's going to be identical to the original function, g of x. The only difference between these two graphs is that the original function has a hole in it. So therefore, these graphs are identical everywhere else, so we can use the simplified function to determine the horizontal asymptote. So if we analyze the numerator of the simplified function, we're going to notice the numerator, which is just a constant, 2, that's degree 0. And the denominator, x minus 5, that's going to be degree 1. So the numerator has a degree smaller than the denominator, which means that your horizontal asymptote will be the horizontal line y is equal to 0. Now let me pause for a moment and discuss why that is the horizontal asymptote, so you're not just memorizing those rules, and understand really why the horizontal asymptote is y equals 0. So I'm going to go to a new page. So going back here, I'll plot in y equals 0 here as my horizontal asymptote. Perfect. So after we have found our asymptotes, then it's also important to ask ourselves, will the graph cross the horizontal asymptote? So to determine if it's going to cross the horizontal asymptote, let's first look at that simplified function, which is y equals 2 divided by x minus 5. Then we have a horizontal asymptote of y equals 0. So we basically just need to find out if the y value will ever equal 0. So we're basically substituting in the y value of that horizontal asymptote in for y in our function to see if the function ever intersects or crosses its horizontal asymptote. So we're going to solve this equation and see if we get any solutions. So to solve, we would multiply both sides of the equation by x minus 5 to divide out the quantity x minus 5. And then x minus 5 times 0 is just 0. So we end up with the statement 0 is equal to 2, which is clearly false. That is definitely a false statement. So because we did not get any solutions, then our answer is no. This graph will not cross its horizontal asymptote. Now we don't bother thinking about whether it will cross its vertical asymptote, remember, because that vertical asymptote, that was a value that caused the function to be undefined. So we can never cross vertical asymptotes. The only asymptotes that potentially could be crossed would be horizontal asymptotes or slant asymptotes, but never vertical asymptotes. So next, after we have determined those asymptotes, we'll move on to the intercepts. We want to get some actual points on the graph. So we'll start with the x-intercepts. And as always, we find x-intercepts by letting y equal 0. So our simplified function, which was y equals 2 divided by x minus 5, we'll substitute 0 in for y. And you're getting a sense of deja vu because you'll notice that this is exactly the same work. It turns out that we've already done up here when we were trying to figure out if the function crossed its horizontal asymptote. So we really can essentially copy our work, multiply both sides by x minus 5, and we get that false statement again that 0 does not equal 2, which means that we don't have any x-intercepts. So this graph doesn't have any x-intercepts. And we really should have already known that from above if we look back at our graph. Since the horizontal asymptote was the x-axis, and we already had done the work and shown that the graph will never cross through its horizontal asymptote, we really already knew that there weren't any x-intercepts. So if you had noticed that and determined that without showing that work, that would be just fine. Moving on to the y-intercept, which was always found by letting x equal 0. So y is equal to 2 divided by x minus 5, but we're substituting in 0 for x this time. And that gives us a y value of negative 2/5. So our y-intercept is 0, negative 2/5. And then that is a point we can graph. So let's go up to our graph and plot that point. So y-intercept is 0, negative 2/5, something about there. So we found all of these good characteristics, and now it's really a matter of putting this puzzle together. And so I know already what the left-hand portion of this graph must look like, because the asymptotes, remember, they're guidelines. The graph is going to get really, really, really close to these asymptotes. So we've established that this graph is going to get very close to its horizontal asymptote. Then it's going to have a hole. Then it's going to have that y-intercept at negative 2/5. And then it's going to hug this vertical asymptote. So this is what one of the branches of the graph is going to look like. But then, because of the domain, I know there has to be more to this graph, either up here, kind of in this first quadrant area, or down here in this fourth quadrant area. We know there has to be another branch. So let's go ahead and make a table and get some values, some y values. We'll plot some additional points. So the last part here would be making a table. Since our vertical asymptote was x equals 5, then I'm going to go ahead and go a little bit farther to the right and plug in x equals 6. So our function was y equals 2 divided by x minus 5. So if you substitute 6 into the function, you'll have 2 divided by 1. So my output is positive 2. So that's a coordinate, 6, 2, that we can plot. Going back to my graph here, if I plot the coordinate 6, 2, then that tells me that the other branch of my graph must be up here. And I know that the branch is going to hug the vertical asymptote, get very close to it, and then hug that horizontal asymptote and get close to it as well. And this would be a nice, concise graph that we constructed without our graphing calculators. Now, if you are a person that is using the online program Alex for some additional homework, Alex will require that you plot 2 points on each branch of the graph. So just remember, all that would require of you would be to go ahead and plug in, for example, x equals 7. So you would have an additional point, 2 divided by 7 minus 5, which is 2 divided by 2, which is 1. So you could go ahead and plot the point 7, 1 as an additional coordinate on the graph for accuracy. So there are some programs that require that you just do some additional point plotting. But really, once we knew that coordinate 6, 2, and we knew where that branch was located, that really is good enough to sketch the graph by hand. And if I take a look at this function, y is equal to 2 divided by x minus 5, and I'm thinking about those horizontal asymptotes, which are going to impact the far right and the far left sides of the graph, which means we're going to look at what happens as x becomes a really, really large number. As x approaches infinity, that's the same as going to the right. So we're thinking about this x value here and what's going to happen when that becomes a really, really large number. So if you can imagine, let's pick a number like 100. We would have y equals 2 divided by 100 minus 5. So that would be 2 divided by 95. So we would have an output of 2 over 95, which is a very small number. Now look what happens if x becomes a larger number. Let's say x is 1,000. Now we have 2 divided by 1,000 minus 5, which is 2 divided by 995. And now compare what's happening to the output. Here we had 2 divided by 95. Now we have 2 divided by 995. So notice that the outputs here, not only are they getting smaller, but they are approaching 0. They are very, very small values. They're getting closer and closer to 0. So we are basically saying that as the x values become very large, as x approaches infinity, my y values are approaching 0. And that's why when the degree of the numerator is smaller than the degree of the denominator, the result is always going to give us a much bigger value in the denominator of the fraction. Therefore, the overall fraction is going to approach 0. And that's why we have a horizontal asymptote of y equals 0. So now let's go back to the graph and let's plot that horizontal asymptote of y equals 0.